Hey everyone, yes, episode 28, and we're back with a lot of stories. David versus Goliath. You've heard of hot dogs, you've heard of salty dogs. What about the underdogs? Enjoy.
Choose the fact. Boys.
Oh, hello.
Episode 28, here we go. What we doing, boys? We're going to do underdog stories.
Underdogs this week, yeah.
Everyone loves an underdog story.
Everyone does love an underdog story. America loves the underdog
They
story.
really do. This is exactly what I was thinking about. Like, everyone needs... Well, I'll tell you what. Here's how I'm going to do a little connection. I was thinking about summer motivation for this year. And what's more motivating than an underdog story? Rags to riches.
Yeah. People write you off.
People write you off. This guy hasn't got it in him, and you turn up, and you turn up in the summer, and you're the new version of yourself. That's my new gym thing, and it's what I'm convincing myself. So I'm going to start watching these stupid films every week.
Do you know what? It really does help that kind of stuff. And like also having like a post-it note on the wall or something that you can cast your eye over.
Do you believe in that
Watch
sort of
Physical
stuff?
100 every day of your life.
I mean, I've been watching it. My goodness me.
Does that really get you in the mood for a
yeah,
gym?
so I've been a bit fat the last couple of weeks.
You can't not do some push-ups watching Physical 100. You got to do something.
Because they just... Also, because of their skin tone... You don't get like that pale colour like I would be. It's the perfect tone to show off their physique. And they're always like slightly sweaty because they're doing this workout. And it's all different physiques. The one guy who's with his girlfriend and he's absolutely massive.
In the first season?
Yeah.
Yeah, gigantic.
It's like, how big is this? There's one. The second season, there's one even bigger than him.
I just love the way that they talk about each other.
Yeah, and the respect.
There's that one young guy that comes in as one of the last few people in the first season, and someone says he's like, oh, it's like a tiger in the mountain or something like that. And I was like, Jesus, the poetry! Just a man just walked in the room. It's like a tiger in the mountain. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Is it not corny? Is it not a bit
No,
corny?
it's cool as shit because it's in Korean.
Oh, right. Oh, jeez. Okay, it's Korean.
Yeah, it's not a guy from Bolton going, bloody hell, it's like bloody tiger at mountain.
Doesn't quite have the same ring in
But they rate each other. They're like, oh, this guy's huge. What a great body. Like, they say genuine, really earnest, nice things about each other. And it's like, oh, what a nice community.
I might check it out, actually. I thought it was...
Do you know where the word underdog comes from?
That song by the... I can't remember.
No, so it's actually a late 19th century word with reference to the beaten dog in a dog fight. So someone has coined that after watching a dog get mauled and probably come back, I imagine.
Well, I don't like that anymore now.
It's horrible, that, isn't it? Imagine
like
going
that
to
at
watch
all.
a dog fight.
You got to be some... Sorry, we can't... First 5 minutes. You got to be some piece of work to want to go and watch.
Hey, I'm walking here.
And to train a dog knowing it's going to...
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah.
Bricktop in Lockstock.
Yeah.
Let me
What's
take
that
you.
snatch?
Let me take you away from dogfighting then.
Oh, hell yeah.
And let me, for some reason, in a twist of fate, a mad twist of fate, Sam.
There it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Press that button.
Take us back, Dean.
Dean's got a little history story this week
Oh.
to do with an underdog situation.
Yep.
In 1552,
Oh, good year.
Goodness me.
you know what I mean?
It was a good year. The best year.
1552.
Suck it in 1552, Hungarian men and women held off an Ottoman siege by hurling whatever they could find. So the Ottoman Empire was laying siege to a Hungarian castle, which with around 35 to 45,000 men,
That'll do it.
cannons, cavalry. You know what I mean? These had 2,000 people defending the castle.
Yeah.
So it's like 20 to 1.
And running out of food.
Yeah. And well, they've probably thrown it at them by this point. Anyway. But so one fourth of these people defending the castle, they weren't even soldiers.
Also known as a quarter. But carry on.
So the castle's under siege currently.
Yeah, the Ottoman
And it's a load
Empire
of
is
peasants.
sieging this castle,
Right.
and there's only 2,000 people defending it, right? And a quarter of them aren't even soldiers.
Yeah.
They're just like
Cool.
militia,
Riff-raff.
whatever, riff-raff. You know what I mean?
Militia's good.
So, but what the Hungarians did have, or who they had, was Istvan Dobo, who was a skilled commander, and Gregli Bonamissa or whatever.
Isn't that nice?
Forgive me, but it's probably not right. Who was an officer who had an unnatural skill with explosives. Now,
He sounds like a maniac.
I'm not sure
First
what
of
an
all,
unnatural
an
skill with
unnatural
explosives is.
In 1552 as well.
Yeah.
He shoots out his fingers.
Yeah. Like we've developed more of a natural skill for explosives now.
Rexplode.
Rexplode. Perfect.
Great name. But anyway, during the siege, several assaults on the city were repelled. Obviously, so you've got a guy that's a really good tactician, and a guy that's just
Love blowing stuff up.
hey. What was
You can
that?
see their
just-
relationship, can't you?
Yeah.
What we should do is, shut up. I got this. Big cigar that's half chewed down.
This ain't time for thinking. It's time to blow it up.
Yeah, I'm Hungarian. Hungry for explosives.
And I want me some Ottoman Empire. Anyway, so they were repelled for about 39 days, the Ottoman Empire. So
fair
they repelled
play.
a lot of people for
Yeah,
39
yeah.
days. And so they lost around 300, 400 men, and the Ottomans lost around 7,000, and then they obviously
Yeah.
retreated. But in the siege, the defenders went all out. Women manned the walls.
There you go. There's a modern one for you.
Well, the pun in there anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay.
Man on.
Oh, what?
Love that you were on the same page, then you weren't, and you were back on again.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's what, having a chat with Dean
I
will do
thought,
to
you
you.
meant, I thought you meant a modern one as in like now
No,
women are
modern
manning the walls now, aren't they? You know what I mean? But anyway, whatever. I digest. Right?
I digest. It's so good.
But anyway, this is where they were throwing anything and everything. But
Yeah.
what it really was is they were pouring molten metal and hot water onto the ladder climbing off.
Oh,
you
that's
imagine
nasty work.
So you're trying
Imagine seeing someone come fly down a ladder, scalded and burnt, and then the general, your guy next to you going, "Get up that ladder!"
you're next. Yeah. Hopefully they've run out of molten.
Yeah.
And now they are throwing chairs.
Yeah, throw an armchair at me. Hit me with a saucepan. Please.
God, molten metal.
But it's since become one of the most famous battles in Hungarian history, right? So, and according to sources, leave the puns out, there was roughly 90 women, and they were part of the, like, manning the walls. And the women defenders also threw burning materials, and comparable deterrents. I'm not sure what a comparable
Right,
deterrent is in this day and age. But yeah, so the guy, anyway, the guy who loved explosives,
Yeah, Rexplode.
also called Gregor, which was his first name,
course.
took charge
Strong
of the
name,
castle.
Gregor.
Could go Clegane, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He ended up taking charge of the castle, and but was later captured by the Ottomans and hanged for not giving any secrets about the castle.
Oh,
yeah.
they did worse to him than that, surely.
Yeah.
You think they just grab him and hang him?
Yeah.
Did they? Yeah.
Put a grenade up his ass. How'd you
Who
like
does
that?
number 2 work for? I was number 2.
It's a new line of questioning.
But so
So what happened in the end? Did they win?
oh yeah, they fought them off. The Ottomans. They fought
cleared
them
off.
off. The Ottomans left.
Thinking
Obviously,
this castle ain't worth that.
So, but that guy then took over the Rexplode, took over the castle, and he, like manned the castle himself. Like from that point, there was no a siege anymore. They'd gone.
Yeah.
But then later on, he was captured by them later date,
Got you. Okay.
and they were trying to find out like what the secrets are to how probably if they wanted to come for the castle again.
Yeah.
How do we get in? Back door, side door. Have you got a little?
Must have been a well designed castle. You got to love it when regular people take a stand. I think that was like when in the Ukraine was that Mariupol, and you heard about these
Oh,
like
someone threw
everyday
like a
people.
tin of tuna at a drone or something.
Yeah, it's like come on, that's great, isn't it? That's Underdog.
That's a comparable object. Isn't it? There we
nice,
go.
a
nice.
comparable deterrent.
Comparable deterrent. Yeah.
Fetch the tuna. No, not the white sunflower oil. I'm saving that. Give me the brine.
Brine.
You know I don't like the brine.
Quick question. If you're the Ottoman general, there's got to be an element of sunk cost where you're like, I'm not backing out of this.
Yeah,
I've got to
I
see
took
this.
40,000.
Yeah, like there's no way I can.
I've got to go back to Mr.
But
Ottoman
they might have
Empire.
ran out. They might have ran out.
Ottoman.
Yeah.
Get the trebuchets up. Yeah, you got to do something. I couldn't imagine walking away from that.
Yeah, because you're not going back to Welcome Back.
Yeah, no, you're not.
Where's that castle? Oh, well.
Sir, they had pans and pots and women manning the walls. Or I don't know.
You should have seen Gregor. He was just explosive to watch. Hey. That's good. I like that.
Very good.
That's very good.
So,
I'll tell you what else is explosive. Our YouTube channel.
hey.
Yeah? But it could be more explosive because if
exploding
you're
enough.
watching and listening right now on YouTube, please drop us a subscribe, drop us a like, drop us a comment.
And yeah, again, everybody listening to our lovely voices on Spotify or Apple Music, please give us 5 stars.
5 stars.
And just
5-star
keep
reviews.
telling everybody, chew the fat, man.
Yeah,
Just
chew the fat to the world.
Tell your friends.
Yeah,
Come on now.
absolutely.
Appreciate it.
But it's time for Mr. Clayton's Cinema Club.
So I really wrestled with this one this week because
Is it a wrestling story?
Get out of here.
there's so many stories, right? There's so many underdog stories in movies that you could go into, and I thought of so many, but it would be criminal for me not to talk about the most classic of all classic underdog stories.
Mighty Ducks. Mighty Ducks.
D12, the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Mighty Ducks the next 45 minutes.
We're going to talk about Rocky. We're going to talk about the Rocky franchise, more specifically the first 2 movies. It's great to know that you two haven't fucking seen them.
We are the
which is
only
crazy.
straight men on planet Earth that have not seen Rocky. I think what we're saying though, we've consumed enough about it that we know, but
Yes.
we've never just sat down because it's seeped into culture, isn't it? You know, running up the stairs, the punching the meat.
I've seen enough montages. you
Yes,
know.
inescapable. Yeah, I mean, right. So we won't talk any more about that montage because that montage is a talking point for me.
Hey, but I'd like to hear about a montage.
I'll basically do the synopsis for both of those movies in as quick a fashion as I can, trying to cover off as much of the story as I can, and hopefully you'll, at the end of it, want to go and watch them because I do think even today, and these are significantly older movies, they are worth going out and watching. They're worth seeking out because they are such great stories. And Sylvester Stallone does not get anywhere near enough credit for writing these movies.
Oh, he wrote them as well.
He wrote them. See?
Yeah, you always think of him like an Arnie, but he's very different.
It's a very different kettle of
Yeah.
fish. Yeah, it really is. So I'll start off with the fact that Rocky Balboa, who's our titular character, is
Oh, what?
Oh, what? Sorry? Yeah.
titular.
That's up there right now, isn't it?
Titular, yeah.
Go on, don't. Go into a little bit. Go on, give me the.
Yeah, give me a synonym.
Yeah.
Well, the movie's called Rocky, and he's Rocky Balboa, therefore he is the titular character.
But I don't know what that word means.
Oh, really?
Titular mean, yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
no,
fine.
no.
So it's like a self-titled album would be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's that.
Okay.
Is the
Like
titular
Rexplode would be.
If the movie was called Rexplode and the main character was Rexplode, it would be titular to Rexplode.
Okay,
yeah.
cool, okay.
Sorry. Yeah,
No, it's good. I've never heard that word.
I've already learned 2 things. Sly Stallone wrote them, which I didn't know, and
I think he directed them as well. I should know this because I've done the prep, but whatever. So he is a nickel and dime boxer doing like the local. Nickel and
God, you gotta love Ben's Cinema Club, haven't you, Mr. Clayton?
Nickel and dime.
He is.
You sandbagging mother.
He's working the local boxing circuit, but he is not even a has-been. This guy is literally the epitome of a never was. Yeah, he just never was top flight. He was never good enough to be anything more than what he was doing currently, or at the very least, he'd never taken it seriously enough to be any more than he currently was. So he's doing it for lunch money, basically. He's
Yeah.
boxing every night. Or however often he gets a fight.
Doesn't know what else to do.
He doesn't have any other
Yeah.
skill set. He is he's a little bit on the slower side. He does have probably some deficiencies that are undiagnosed or whatever, but that's his thing. He as you'd have seen from, like you mentioned a minute ago, he's like punching the meat and all that stuff because he's a meat packer in the day and then he does the boxing in the evenings and whatever. He's more or less just a down and out. He doesn't know anything else. He's got no other skill sets, but that's where he is.
Philadelphia, right?
Philly, big
Yeah.
Philly. So incidentally, at the same time, heavyweight boxing champion Apollo Creed is 5 weeks out from his next fight in Philly, loses his opponent. His opponent backs out for whatever reason. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he now needs a new stand-in. Now, Apollo Creed is a master of the craft. He's a very, very skilled boxer, but the only thing that's beyond that with him is his love for showmanship and telling a good story. So he starts to look around like, oh, how can I spin this now into something more interesting? So he starts to look at local talent. I'll fight someone locally. People will love that. But I need a name. Of course, goes into the boxing directory. He sees Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, which is a name.
It's a name. Yeah. So he's like, right, this guy. Like, this is what I want.
Was it slightly named after Rocky Marciano?
Yes.
There is who's like supposed to be like the best pound-for-pound boxer of all time, right? From like the 50s.
There's definitely arguments to say that he's the best of all time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. So definitely a nod to him. And Apollo Creed is now like, I want to make this fight happen. Every single person who hears this is like, Rocky, that's a really, really bad idea. This guy will just literally kill you in the ring because he's the best of all time, and you're
punching meat.
Yeah. You're literally you. But of course, this is like he's got everything to gain from taking this fight and nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So that's what he does. He decides,
and he believes in himself. Ultimately.
Well, he doesn't believe in himself. This is the reality. Okay. He doesn't believe in himself because he has never been good enough to believe in himself.
Okay.
And the local boxer Mickey doesn't. He's similar. He's like, no, this is a ridiculous concept, but he agrees to take him on and train him to fight the heavyweight world champ. Cue
one of the most iconic montages.
Cue the greatest montage in cinema history, and I love.
It's Eye of the Tiger, right?
Yeah. Running the streets of Philly, running in the morning, getting the oranges.
Those steps as well.
Yes.
That is now culture for those steps.
100%.
People do that.
Nobody could tell me that listening to Eye of the Tiger doesn't give you some level of pump to do, like you're ready for something after that. Song is phenomenal, and it's so ingrained with that underdog story. It's so good. So he goes on this super iconic montage, gets better, takes the boxing super seriously. He's training like his life depends on it. Cut to the fight night. We finally get there. Despite like the obvious overabundance of confidence from the champ, Rocky manages to get a knockdown. The first time ever in the champ's career getting knocked down. Rocky knocks him down in the first round.
Okay.
Real wake-up call.
And my issue when I've seen bits of Rocky is that the weight classes look so...
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
There's also no boxing in these films.
Yeah.
Every punch is just a swing for the fences. This is why it's
and
so
great
good.
Sound on punches back then. You know, it was like, how have you thought that's a punch? They get the two blocks together. It's like punches don't sound like that.
Every single move, it's constant. Like, and everyone's blocking everything with their face. Like there's no ducking and weaving. Really, it's just smack. It turns into an absolute war. It's a full 15-round war between the two men. Obviously, Apollo Creed's pride is hurt from that very first round knockdown.
Yeah.
So his normal game plan out of the window, and there's just two men going at it for 15 minutes, and it's crazy. The outcome is Rocky does lose on points at the end, but he goes the distance.
Spoiler.
Big spoiler. But what's so great is the way that they film that scene is that when they're announcing the winner, it's not important. You're zoned in on Rocky, looking for his partner Adrian and Mickey, and they're just like wanting to celebrate the fact that they even came this far. It's a huge moment.
His stock's now gone right up.
Silence all of his critics.
Because that's the issue with fight films. It's like they're so repetitive, a lot of them, where it's like they're going to win. So I think when they did that, that was probably the first time it'd been done like that.
Phenomenal, like a true, because it's a truer depiction of what would happen. Yeah. There's very little chance that you'd be able to get yourself in 5 weeks, given that you've never been top flight, get yourself into condition to fight with one of arguably the greatest of all time and win. There's just no way.
But it's about the journey, right? That's the point.
It's about the journey. So that's how the first movie ends. And the second movie begins immediately afterwards. Both men are in ambulances on the way to the hospital. Okay. Apollo Creed.
Oh, literally? Like,
yeah.
Wow.
Apollo Creed is fuming. He's demanding a rematch there and then. Like, we need to have a rematch. I want this to get on right now. I don't want... Because he thinks everyone's doubting him. He's like, this journeyman who's taken me the distance, and I need to put this to bed immediately. Rocky's got a different mindset. He's gone through the hardest thing that he's ever gone through in his life, and he's like, I'm done now. Like, I did everything I needed to do. Everyone rated me for what I could do. Bear in mind, he was already feeling like he was over the hill before he ever started this fight. He doesn't think he's got a boxing career now in him. But Apollo Creed's not having it. So Rocky tries to take advantage of his newfound fame, start trying to like advertise stuff and like just jump into the other pockets of making money now that you're somewhat famous.
Yeah.
But he's got no skills. He tries to act, he tries to do commercials. They all just absolutely mug him off because he cannot act, he cannot read lines. He's got some of his problems, and it just none of it works out. Loses his job at the meat packing factory because he's now become like. It's troublesome to have someone so famous working there and stuff.
Meat on his
so he
lunch
can't
break.
even do his normal thing. It's all going to hell. He's trying to start a life with Adrian, which he now is no longer able to really.
And Adrian's a woman.
Adrian's his partner. Yeah, sorry, I should have said next to the first one.
Hell.
He's trying to now start a life and just like call it a day and have an easier finish. It's not really happening because everything starts to go wrong. And he starts to contemplate going back to boxing because that's all he knows. But Mickey and Adrian are just like, no, this is not for you. Like, this is really, you've done better than you ever were supposed to do. But like, let's leave it now. Don't push this. Apollo Creed still really wants this rematch. So he's on TV.
Yeah.
Drawing him out,
Yeah.
talking about his family, talking about this, that, and the others, calling him a bum. Mickey gets incensed. He's like, right now, we're having this fight. We're going to do it. And that so goes into another amazing montage. Get Rocky up to code. Get him
What
to
song's that montage?
Damn.
Is it ultimately like similar
It's
vibe
a
though?
similar vibe.
Yeah.
It's not the it's
Synth
very
heavy
it's
rock.
a very similar vibe. In fact, every single movie in the franchise has their own version
it has
of the
that,
same
yes.
thing, more or less. And this time round, they have the rematch, and the outcome obviously is a different one. And I'm going to leave it there because there's more. I could talk all day about.
And then
the
the
rest
third
of the
one's
franchise.
the Drago.
No, that is the fourth one.
Oh,
The
okay.
third one is Clubber Lang, which is Mr. T.
Okay, yeah.
Which is a real product of his time.
Yeah.
Mr. T. Is
Dean's mate.
And in fact, I'll very briefly go into the third and fourth one because they're very, very good. But the fourth one is now Rocky's on top. He's the champ in the third one. And he's lost. He's not lost it, but like he's now against the hungry newcomer, which is what Mr. T's character is. So that's
circle.
the new dynamic. Yeah, this is now he's living in the mansion. He's got all the stuff. He's this, that, and the other, and it's not working out the same. And trying to stay as hungry as he used to be, and trying to reignite that fire that he used to have against this young, hungry fighter. But Clubber Lang is not really a great villain. He's just an angry guy. His famous quote is like, "What's your predictions for the fight? I predict pain." That's it. Mr. T just on it.
They got a speaking role.
Yeah. The fourth one is against Ivan Drago,
Who is about 8 weight classes bigger than.
Oh, Dolph Lundgren is such a big man.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Dolph Lundgren for being like a member of Mensa,
Is he actually?
Yeah, like a biochemical engineer or something like that.
Mad.
He's a genetic freak. Super big, handsome, muscular guy, genius intellect.
That hair that's like.
Hair that does not quit. Yeah, the guy's ridiculous. I won't go into too much because there's definite things that you would rather see for yourself. But that film, that fight, 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
So there's Rocky for you boys.
Because it's not really about the plot, is it? Because you haven't told me an awful lot I didn't know. That's not a dig at you, but like from what I'd picked up.
Yeah.
I've thought of some Underdog movies
Cool.
off the top of my head earlier. I don't know if you ever think of any
You've
more.
got Dodgeball in there.
Yes, I have. Mighty Ducks, Cool Runnings, Moneyball. It's a good movie, Moneyball is.
Yeah, that's good.
Dodgeball, School of Rock, its own little way.
Yeah.
8 Mile.
8 Mile.
That's an Underdog story.
Yeah. It is.
Comes against it.
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore's a good Underdog
Just
story.
love that movie. Full
Yeah, there's
stop.
so many, aren't there?
It's
Yeah.
great. It's
There are
great.
so many.
Kingpin. You ever
Isn't
seen
that even?
Kingpin?
No, I know.
Oh,
Like
wow.
it's one that there's those films where you're just like, I should have watched this by now.
Yeah. Rocky's that one for me. I'm like, I feel like I should have watched it by now.
Do you know what? I honestly think it's so timeless that you could go and watch that now and be like, this is a good movie. This is a brand new, like, fresh movie.
That's good. Well, yeah. So speaking of basically last night I was watching some. This is off topic, but I was watching some movie trailers, right? And for some reason, I started watching the Arachnophobia trailer.
Such a good movie.
We talked about that last week, weren't we?
We talked about Jeff Daniels for some reason.
Oh,
last
really?
Week.
Okay, right.
Arachnophobia.
That looks so dated, so rubbish. Now, rubbish. Yeah, but when you were younger, scared the life out of you, didn't it?
Yeah, it's
And,
all
like,
you got
had
to
you on
remember
edge.
at a time though. Some movies do date.
And then obviously Jeff Daniels, the man that you know as the idiot from Dumb and Dumber, playing a flipping scientist.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, sorry. Just when you said about Rocky dating, I was thinking,
Yeah,
does anything from the 80s date well?
well, I'm gonna date it a little bit further actually.
Oh, hell yeah.
Looking backwards, we are running backwards.
More history now, but this one for me it's actually, and you know this is like really close to my heart. This story, it is not that well known, and which is why it's so close to my heart. I'm going to talk about the Harlem Hellfighters.
Oh, hell yeah.
And this is something that, like, I was saying this pod now, like, I'm going to make a movie at some point about this. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
At some point in my life, I am making a movie on this.
Okay.
And it's going to be epic because there's been a couple of
Can I do
attempts.
the lights?
There's been a couple of attempts and it's been awfully done and it has not been justice because this story is so movie ready, it would not take much at all.
Oh, 10-10. This story.
So,
yeah.
Also, if you're listening right now and you want to make a movie about it, don't, because Sam's going to do it.
Do, but just let me know and I'll do it with you.
Okay,
Yeah,
right,
bosh.
okay.
But I think really my biggest issue is that I think it needs to be done by predominantly black cast and black
Yeah,
people around it
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
such a black story, and this is why it's so important. But I found this in a textbook when I was studying American history. Took up about this much space in the book, and really the whole fucking book should have been on it because
Yeah.
this story is amazing, right? So. The Harlem Hellfighters, or otherwise known as the 369th Infantry Regiment, originally formed as a New York National Guard. So people that just sign up for National Guard, you kind of like do your training, but you never face war. This is kind of just turn of the century, just before World War One. It had mainly black African American men, but it also had Hispanics, it had Canadians, it had Australians, but it was basically your racial misfits, if for want of a better word at the time, that weren't basically wanted anywhere else. And we're talking about a time where Jim Crow was as bad as it gets. You know, you were not a citizen if you were anything other than white, European white especially. So they were an infantry regiment, as I said, and they served in World War One and World War Two. They were also called the Black Rattlers and Hommes de Bronze, which means men of bronze, because they fought with the French, and that's what the French called them, and that's just because of the colour of their skin. And it was actually the Germans who coined the phrase Hellfighters because they were so scared to face these men. So I think just want to give you a bit of background so you kind of understand the time. Men of any colour, not just black men, but men of any colour, non-whites, were not really allowed to join the armed forces at this point in time. And it wasn't until the States got a little bit desperate for men during World War One that they passed this bill that all men, regardless of colour, have to sign up if you're between 18 and 30 or whatever it was. But a lot of these black men that signed up were proud to be American in some respects. They wanted to fight for their country. They wanted to fight for their people who, you know, might look like them, they might look like me, whatever they look like. They wanted to do what every young man wanted to do at the time, honourable and all that.
But at the same time, it's like, it's where you live, in a sense.
Exactly.
That's at war.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If
So you're
people
trying to
look
defend
like
where you're living.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They've got every right to feel that way as well. But and a lot of them joined the war effort thinking, if we do a good job out there, they might change how they look at us.
Yeah.
But this was not really the case. And really, they were used as skivvies. They loaded ships. They cooked, you know, frontline fodder.
Yeah.
We need to do an attack with a bit of misdirection. We'll send you out left and we go right with the whites. It was pretty horrendous for them. But despite that, they were hell-bent on proving them wrong and doing themselves and their community a service. So during World War One, the Hellfighters spent 191 days in a row in the frontline trenches, more than any other regiment in the whole of the war on either side.
Jesus. Wow.
So these men were the most battle-hardened men of World War One, period. So that in itself is absolutely amazing. And in a war, by the way, that one day must have felt like a year. They suffered the most losses of any American regiment with 1,500 casualties. And the regiment was also the first of any Allied force to cross the Rhine into Germany at the end of the war. Wow. So this isn't just, they did okay for a bunch of black guys.
They were the leading line.
They were
were the guys.
categorically the
These were
most
the guys.
impressive regiment, despite everything in their way. So originally, they were actually set up to fail and kind of humiliated and degraded. But they came home as one of the most decorated units in US history, not just World War I history. So the way they were set up to fail was they were given to the French army because America weren't fully joined the war. They're like, you can have our blacks. Really, that's how they said it. And forgive me for being blunt, but I'm going to say
what it is.
how these guys would say it because I want to get the point across of how nasty some of their treatment was, right? So they were given to the French as fodder, and the French were kind of desperate. They also, I mean, there was still a lot of racism in France, but I think because they had a lot of the colonies in Africa, it was a bit softer. And I think the French were so desperate that when they saw how they fought, they were like, fuck it, we just need these men. Yeah. So it's a bit different socially in that respect. But they fought with the French, and then eventually the Americans came over, and that's when the Americans joined the war. But at this point, the Hellfighters were hardened and ready for war, whereas the Americans are fresh off the boat, hadn't seen anything. But I'm going to talk about underdogs. I've already kind of mentioned it already. I'm going to talk about one man in particular, Henry Johnson. He was probably the most famous of any Harlem Hellfighter, and this man was nicknamed Black Death.
Damn. Oh, shit.
Now, the movie that I will eventually make might just be about him, if I'm honest, because this man...
You could just call it Black Death as well, probably.
Yeah, or just fighting in hell. This man is just everything about an underdog story that, you know, and he's just incredible. So he found himself one night in no man's land with Private Roberts manning a listening post. So no man's land was the area between the two trenches that you didn't want to be because there's mines, it's just hell. And they're in a listening post to basically hear if any Germans make any attack at night, which is when all the attacks happened. So we're sitting there. Private Roberts heard clicking, which was the noise of Germans cutting wires around them. So they basically had a choice. They either run back or they have to fight, and they deemed it that they had to fight because it was so close to them. So Private Roberts was literally laying out grenades, and for Johnson to start throwing. They're throwing grenades, all sorts, and obviously you got to remember, you can't see, you can just hear. You don't know which side is what. You don't know which way is left and right. Must be the most horrible experience any human could be going through. But they keep going. And that's when it turns out into be a full-on battle. Johnson said it felt like he was fighting for an hour at this point, which was an hour of doing this. But Private Roberts got injured, so it was just left to Johnson to fight off these Germans. And it sounded like there was quite a lot of them at the time. He made a fateful error. He put a French cartridge in an American rifle and jammed his gun. So he's left there with an unknown amount of Germans at this point to him, and he's got a choice to make. He's got an injured private who is useless and he needs to try and keep alive, and he's just got a gun with it doesn't work. So he uses his gun as a club and fights off these Germans. Starts turning his gun around, hits them with his club, takes out his knife, fights. He gets 21 wounds and fights for an hour until the Germans retreated. So it wasn't until the morning, and also they ran off shrieking, apparently, up as reports of other men. The Germans ran off shrieking. They were that scared. One man who was deemed as inferior and useless by the US Army did all this. And it's not until the next morning that people realised how incredible the feat actually was. So there was 4 dead German bodies, but there was equipment that basically meant that there was over 40 Germans in the fight, and he had no but bullets.
You're just smacking them about and stabbing them. That's crazy.
Also, they're in the dark as well, though, aren't they? So
they're equally as scared. Let's not make the Germans out to this force of stormtroopers. They are in the same boat here. So he was actually awarded the, I'm going to butcher this, Croix de Guerre, which is essentially like a medal that the French army give. But in true ignorant American fashion, it took 75 years post his death for him to be awarded the Legion of Merit. And it wasn't until 2015 that President Obama posthumously gave him the highest award in American history, which is Medal of Honor.
That's insane.
But that was just one example, by the way, of what this regiment did. But Henry Johnson, unfortunately, this story doesn't end. There's no happy ending here for this underdog, because after all his gallantry, the US government was so worried that they were going to get these reports go back home of this brave black men that they sent a memo to the French government. This is government to government, not military to military. Government to government, do not treat these men like humans. we can't have them coming back thinking they were
Expecting the same.
heroes.
Wow. Yeah.
So basically told them to enforce Jim Crow. So segregation, dehumanize these people. So when you return from the military, as you'll know with your brother, if you're injured, you get looked after. Right? He was so injured that he couldn't go back he absolutely smashed his foot up, couldn't really walk. He couldn't go back to work when he got back. So he actually died about a decade after, in 1929, with no money, no merit, no awards, and no respect that he deserved from a man who took on 40 Germans on his own without a functioning gun. And if that isn't like an underdog story that's worth getting behind, I don't know what is. But Harlem Hellfighters, there's a History Channel YouTube video that kind of sums up what I've just said. There's a little bit out there, but if I'm honest, there's not enough out there about how amazing these guys were.
Yeah. Well, obviously insane. Like, and I'm sure that sort of stuff will happen again and has happened again. But like, when I was looking at Underdog sort of thing, I come across a page about mentality, and really the mentality is what drives the Underdog the most.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But that mentality is forged or created by how they've been treated.
Adversity.
Do you know what I mean? So like, it's a shame that you kind of need the one to have the other.
Yeah,
in a
you
way.
need the rain to enjoy the sun,
you know what
don't
I
you?
mean?
I guess, but there's other stories of what they did as well. By the way, that's just one night.
It's a hell of a story.
There were, as I say, 191 days, and that was just one of them.
Definitely need a movie about that.
Yeah.
There's probably a reason it hasn't been made yet, because it just makes the US government look so bad.
Well, probably.
And that's why Brit needs to make it.
Yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's why Brit needs to make it. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. Daniel Kaluuya, if you're watching, you need to be Johnson. That's all I can think
made in
of.
heaven, actually.
Let's do it.
Honestly.
And he can do a good accent as well.
Yeah, we know that already.
But I know Daniel Kaluuya is watching.
Yeah.
We know
He messaged me the
Not
other day.
if you're watching. Come on.
Yeah.
No, great. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Really
And
enjoyed
there's
that.
tons of military underdog stories, as you probably research, but like a lot of them are just like tactical battles. And but like, you
that's just
you
one man
mentioned the
taking
guy
it.
that was in the bell tower the other week.
Oh, God, yeah.
There is something about that, like, I don't care if I die, I've just got to go out swinging.
Yeah.
And the fact that he survived, albeit only 11 years more, but like, wow. He must have been, he might not have got respect when he came home, but I guarantee he got respect amongst his men.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be a study into like the male mind of wanting to go out in like a blaze of glory in a scene like this.
Because it feels truly male, doesn't it?
It feels so like blokes just think that way.
Yeah.
And there's some of the best movie
Do you reckon
moments
it's propaganda,
of all time.
though?
Do you reckon?
I don't know. Because that is always been, it's a
dying
Japanese
for
way,
a
right? You have to
cause.
die in battle. The
Yeah.
Vikings had the same.
Yeah.
You die in
To
battle,
get
you're
to
rewarded
Valhalla.
with that.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just this constant...
There's just something about it. It just feels so fulfilling that you really,
It's
you
like
really
that's a
made a
purpose that we have
lasting
to
effect.
fulfill.
It's like the guys on that island in Ukraine that told the Russians to fuck off. Do you remember? They were like, we're surrounded. There was like 3 men on this island at the start of the conflict, and they messaged them, and you can hear it. It's available to see. Obviously, it's in Russian, but they subtitle it, and they're like, "You're surrounded. We've got gunships on you," and they literally say, "Well, fuck you. Come on, we have it." And these guys get obliterated by shells. But you just got. Yeah,
What are you going to do otherwise, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, gunships on you. Yeah. We're going
I'll
down.
take
I
on a
guess.
gunship.
we did a bit of sport last week, but I thought I'd just mention some sporting underdogs that come to mind.
Cool.
So Leicester winning the league. What was that? I think someone had a bet
that
on
last
it.
year?
No, 2016 that was.
Oh God.
Yeah.
How time flies.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Leicester winning the league. Greece winning the Euros. 2004,
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
And of course, Birmingham City beating Arsenal in the final of the Carabao Cup over Femi Martins. Go on, the lads.
Over Femi
Underdog stories, though. But again, you talk about war, but sport. Well, I know we did a lot last week, but there's something about when someone who doesn't deserve the right to be there has that upset.
Again,
FA Cup
that's what I think
madness.
is the best part about it is the mentality. That's the really interesting.
It's the
part.
connecting point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every underdog that's done well has done it despite their limitations. Yeah.
I think that's great. The mentality of people.
Just not accepting that you don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah.
I'm not.
But also,
yeah.
you don't have like you don't have the I've not like you haven't failed at this before. Do you know what I mean? So there's no like you can't look over your shoulder at like. Do you know what I mean? It's all brand new, so there's nowhere to.
Well, sometimes I guess
not room for error, but like you know.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a fuck it moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very powerful, actually. A fuck it moment is very powerful.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know what?
have I got?
Stop thinking about
Israel
this.
Adesanya, like I'm prepared to die. That was
Yeah.
just a cool moment.
Easy.
Dean, you've got some CTF news for
I got
us.
some news. Okay. Yeah.
Actually,
Do I?
Let me have a look.
So, well, no, actually, I'm checking my phone, but because I did write some notes on it. But basically, the time we're living in, there's a lot of underdogs and a lot of Davids and Goliaths also
Yeah.
in society around the world. You know, there's big corporations, big businesses,
Big
blah, blah,
pharma.
blah.
Big Pharma.
Big Pharma.
Big
all
Pharma
of
comes
that.
up every episode. Doesn't
So
it?
not to be like truly conspiracy on this, but this is actually what happened to me this week. So where I'm working at the moment.
so you're the underdog.
No, I was a passerby going for lunch.
Okay.
But no, where we're working in the building is the let me just get this right. It's the GMC. GMC stands for General Medical Council.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm at work. There's a protest outside. We come down to go for lunch, and in our building where I'm working is the General Medical Council. That's on one of the floors. And outside there's a protest of about 100 people. 100 or so people, and they're basically GPs and medical practitioners or whatever that are basically protesting against the GMC because and this is current news happening right now. Yeah, that basically. Due to climate change and global warming, there's apparently now people getting ill or like having medical conditions, blah, blah, blah. So the doctors who are actually examining people and coming up with the evidence are saying people are suffering from...
like new ailments because of that. Yeah.
But the GMC are getting funding from oil, etc.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
there's a clash of thingy here, right? And then the government have brought in legislation for a lot of people in a lot of places that you can't protest. You know, peaceful protest, you can be arrested for peaceful protest. And basically, some of the doctors and GPs and practitioners have been arrested. There was a woman from Birmingham, Dr. Where is it? Dr. Sarah Ben, a GP from Birmingham, is the first doctor to face a fitness to practice tribunal for her involvement with non-violent direct action in relation to the climate emergency.
So she's losing her job.
Because
of
GPs are getting sacked, even though we don't have enough GPs.
Yeah.
Because they're protesting against the fact that with a clash of interest.
Yeah.
I mean, conflict of interest type thing. So that was a big protest of like. So this is a case of the underdogs again, just working man and woman trying to just stand up against the rules that they've been put under, or like, you know, against big oil companies and all that kind of thing. So,
So a real life underdog story.
real life underdog story happening this
there you
week.
go.
So yeah, but no, there are, you know, doctors and nurses losing their jobs just for peaceful protest, basically, which is
It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a bad
but
joke.
you know, that was the news that happened this week. Nothing.
There you
I
go.
couldn't find any wacky, weird, wonderful news.
Fair.
Just that's what happened to me this week.
Yeah.
So
they can't always be wacky, weird.
No.
news.
Not at all. Well, should we brighten it up at the end? Yeah? Because we've had a little bit of a... It's my laugh of the week this week. And as you know...
give my ball back. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, give my ball back. It's my ball. Yeah, gender reveals. Not a fan.
It's not for me.
Not a fan. However, I think someone's created one that I can actually get on board with a little bit. And I think you're going to like this as well. And this is a true underdog story inside a gender reveal.
Oh, I've
Gender
seen
reveal
this.
wrestling match for.
Oh, come on.
I hosted a gender reveal wrestling match for my sister. Whatever color wins is the gender of the baby.
Did you send me this?
I hosted a gender reveal wrestling match for my sister. Whatever color wins is the gender of the baby.
Why is it time?
Is that a child
No, it's a dwarf.
or a small person?
It's a small person.
Oh, right, okay.
Hence the underdog.
The big boot. No way.
It's so over the top, though. It's amazing.
Tiger's coming over.
And meanwhile, the couple are just waiting to find out
Who's good?
what gender the baby is.
Oh my god, he's just booting him in the It's just a podcast.
Yeah. Got the underdog. Oh, Texas, by the way. It's a baby boy.
Love that. Love the commitment to
I hosted
comedy
a
there.
gym.
That's so good.
So they obviously knew who was going to win before the wrestling match, right?
Well, they didn't.
No, the wrestlers did.
Yeah, that's wrestling.
Yeah, I know.
I'm playing.
Wow, that's wrestling.
Hey, it's true. It is wrestling.
But there we go. Nice little light-hearted thing to finish the episode.
Hold on a
with.
minute. So, how would you feel about elbow dropping a small person? Like, that's kind of like,
I'd fucking love it. No.
The big
like,
crushed him.
Yeah, but they're on.
know.
They're both on board.
yeah,
Let's-
no. I mean, just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't-
Oh, you mean in real life?
the mismatch? You know, like,
Yeah.
Where are we going
and
with
that
this?
the geezer's massive.
It's an underdog.
Oh yeah, that's the underdog.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I was more wrapped up in the whole baby being born a boy type thing.
Wrapped up in the drama.
Yeah, that's the real underdog because the
Yeah.
sperm has a 1 in 4 billion chance of making it.
What a phenomenal underdog story
Yeah,
that is, by the way.
we're all
We all
underdogs.
won.
Hey.
Yeah, we all
Yes.
won that. That's great.
Brilliant, and we've all made it this far, eh?
God.
Yeah.
Nothing there. Oh,
What we should say is this is goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen. Oh, okay.
Goodbye to Dean, apparently.
Yeah.
Off he goes.
I'm gone. Yeah, go on, carry on, Sam. Carry on.
This is goodbye from us.
yeah.
For now. We are going to take a couple of weeks off because we're moving studio
Yep.
and
Onwards and upwards.
we need a little bit of time to set it up and a little bit of time to re-record and edit. But we'll be back, and the new studio is going to look nice.
Yep.
Going to be exciting. It's going to be a bit more of an easy install for us as well.
And as a farewell, I bought in our very first confectionery corner.
very
That's
first.
very cute.
Look at that, because I know you like the Stroop
I
waffles.
do like that. That's cute.
So there you go. As a little,
Thank you, mate.
As a little see you later
That's
studio.
wonderful.
But thanks for all the support, everyone.
Yeah,
so
and
far.
thanks to the
Cheers,
studio.
It's been great.
Cheers.
Thanks for the studio. It's
Thanks to
been
the
great.
studio.
Cheers.
This
Cheers.
is this got us through and started us, and yeah,
We'll be seeing you.
28 episodes down here,
We're seeing you. Yeah.
and
Be seeing
we're the underdogs because we started from nothing, and now
True,
we're going to keep
exactly.
going.
So
So yes, the normal. God, that's good. Normal practice will resume, and
a couple of weeks.
yeah, I think we're going to take some time. And we're going to have a bit more fun with it. We're going to reinvent ourselves a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've got some ideas for some fun videos as well.
Oh, we've got some good videos coming. Yeah, we've got some really good videos.
Thank you all for watching so far.
Do we?
And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. But yeah, thanks a lot. Take care.